Hello, friends. If you're curious about the movie Rambo, 2008, you're in the perfect place. Don't forget to give this video a quick like, it really helps us out. And if you're new here, hit subscribe to stay updated on all the latest movie deep dives. Let's jump right in. From the very first moments, this film grips you with a raw, unflinching intensity that reminds us why the story of John Rambo remains etched in cinematic memory. This isn't just another action flick. It's a haunting, visceral journey into the heart of a man marked by war, isolation, and a relentless quest for justice in a world that has forgotten him. The film plunges us into a dark, brutal landscape where survival is as much about inner demons as it is about external foes. Set against the oppressive backdrop of conflict-ridden Myanmar, the story thrusts us into a land scarred by civil war and human suffering. Here, the echoes of colonial legacies and modern-day atrocities collide, and the stakes are life and death, not just for armies but for innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. Into this unforgiving terrain steps a figure both legendary and deeply vulnerable, one whose past wounds run deep but whose spirit refuses to be broken. At the center is a man who has seen too much, lost too much, yet carries within him a fierce code of honor and a burning desire to protect the helpless. His presence is a silent storm, a force of nature poised to erupt when injustice becomes unbearable. The film follows his reluctant return to action, not for glory or vengeance but out of necessity, driven by a simple yet profound act of rescue. The plot ignites when a group of Christian missionaries ventures into the heart of Burma, only to fall victim to ruthless soldiers who enslave them in a hidden camp deep within hostile territory. News of their plight reaches a small town in Thailand, stirring a local sheriff who knows firsthand the fierce courage and deadly skills of the ex-soldier living on the outskirts, the very man who once fought wars unseen and now lives as a ghost among civilians. What follows is a perilous odyssey of infiltration and liberation. Our protagonist steps back into the shadows, navigating dense jungles and treacherous borders with the precision of a seasoned warrior. The film captures every grueling moment, from silent stalking beneath the canopy to explosive firefights where every bullet counts. But beyond the gunfire lies a more profound battle, the fight to reclaim humanity in a place where cruelty reigns unchecked. This is a story marked by contrasts, between peace and violence, captivity and freedom, despair and hope. The film explores the toll of war not only on landscapes but on souls, painting a portrait of resilience and redemption. The missions of saving the captives and confronting their captors become metaphors for the struggle to overcome trauma and reclaim agency. Key elements that elevate the narrative include the stark depiction of the soldier's brutality, which never shies away from the grim realities of war, yet the film balances this with moments of tenderness, glimpses of humanity in unexpected places. The protagonist's tactical ingenuity shines through, but so does his deep empathy, showing a man who fights not for bloodlust but for justice and compassion. Major twists unfold as the mission grows more complex and dangerous. The initial rescue plan faces unforeseen betrayals and brutal counterattacks, forcing adaptations and sacrifices. The relationship between the ex-soldier and the local sheriff adds layers of tension and camaraderie, blending personal stakes with larger political turmoil. The film's climax delivers a pulse-pounding crescendo, where strategy, survival instincts, and sheer will converge in a relentless battle that tests every limit. Visually, the film immerses us in its world with gritty realism, the oppressive heat, the dense foliage, the chaos of combat, all rendered with unvarnished intensity. The soundscape throbs with the staccato of gunfire, the whispers of the jungle, and the haunting silences between battles. Together, these elements pull viewers into an experience that is as much sensory as narrative. This film asks us to witness not just a man's physical journey but his internal reckoning, a confrontation with ghosts both past and present. It challenges us to consider the costs of war, the meaning of courage, and the possibility of redemption against all odds. If you're ready to delve into a story that refuses easy answers, that pulses with raw emotion and relentless action, then join me as we unpack the layers of this powerful cinematic work, exploring its themes, characters, and unforgettable moments. The film opens on a quiet, almost forgotten town nestled near the Thai border, a place where time seems to have slowed. where the scars of past conflicts linger beneath the surface of daily life. It is here that John Rambo, a man shaped by decades of warfare and haunted by memories he cannot fully escape, lives a solitary existence. His days are marked by hard labor and introspection, tending to a small farm and living on the fringes of a community that both fears and respects him. The weight of his past is visible in every line on his weathered face, in the guarded intensity of his gaze. This opening sequence sets a tone of subdued tension, a world where violence is always just beneath the calm. The local sheriff, a man of integrity and quiet resolve, maintains a wary but respectful relationship with Rambo. Their interactions reveal layers of history and unspoken understanding, a recognition that beneath the silence lies a man capable of great ferocity, tempered now by weariness and a longing for peace. The fragile equilibrium shatters with the arrival of a group of American Christian missionaries, eager to provide aid and hope to the impoverished and war-torn communities across the border in Burma. Their presence is a beacon of light in a dark landscape, but it also stirs unrest. Despite warnings of danger, the missionaries are driven by faith and conviction, venturing into regions controlled by a brutal military faction notorious for its cruelty and human rights abuses. Tragedy strikes swiftly. The missionaries are ambushed and captured by Burmese soldiers loyal to a ruthless colonel. They are taken deep into the jungle, imprisoned in a remote camp where they face unimaginable suffering and exploitation. The camp's grim reality is starkly portrayed, the prisoners broken physically and emotionally, the soldiers' brutality unflinching and chilling. This grim tableau establishes the stakes and galvanizes the narrative's urgency. Word of the missionaries' plight reaches the border town, setting off a ripple of concern and outrage. The sheriff, aware of Rambo's extraordinary skills and his own limitations, approaches the reluctant warrior with a desperate plea for help. Initially resistant, burdened by his past and wary of re-entering a world of violence, Rambo wrestles with the call to action. His internal conflict is palpable, a man torn between the desire for peace and the necessity of confronting evil. Eventually, the weight of responsibility and a spark of his indomitable spirit compel Rambo to agree to the mission. This decision marks a turning point, propelling him from isolation back into the lethal theater of war. Preparation begins, a brief but intense montage of gear acquisition, intelligence gathering, and mental steeling. The sheriff provides essential support, offering contacts and logistical aid, underscoring the fragile alliance between official law enforcement and lone vigilante justice. The journey into the jungle is fraught with peril. Rambo's navigation through dense foliage, treacherous terrain, and hostile territory is rendered with gripping realism. Every step is a test of survival instincts honed through years of combat. The cinematography here captures the oppressive heat, the claustrophobia of the wilderness, and the ever-present threat of ambush. The jungle becomes a character itself, a labyrinthine, unforgiving environment that challenges Rambo's physical and psychological endurance. Along the way, Rambo encounters scattered villagers and refugees, silent witnesses to the ongoing horrors. Their fleeting interactions reveal the pervasive fear and despair gripping the region, heightening the narrative's emotional weight. These moments humanize the conflict, reminding viewers that the stakes extend far beyond individual heroism. Upon reaching the enemy camp, Rambo conducts careful reconnaissance, assessing the layout, guard patterns, and prisoner conditions. His tactical expertise shines as he devises a plan that balances stealth and force. The film devotes time to this strategic preparation, underscoring Rambo's intelligence and experience rather than relying solely on brute strength. This approach builds suspense, inviting viewers to engage with the unfolding rescue mission on a cerebral level. The rescue operation itself is a study in tension and precision. Rambo moves through the camp like a shadow, incapacitating guards silently and navigating traps with calculated care. The film's editing during these sequences balances rapid cuts with lingering shots that emphasize the danger and emotional stakes. The score pulses subtly beneath the action, enhancing the suspense without overwhelming. As Rambo frees the prisoners, including several key missionaries, the narrative highlights the fragile hope flickering amid despair. The captives' exhaustion and trauma are portrayed with sensitivity, emphasizing the human cost of conflict. Their reliance on Rambo becomes a poignant element, forging bonds that transcend language and culture. However, the mission's success ignites a fierce response. The camp's commander mobilizes reinforcements, turning the jungle into a battlefield. Rambo and the freed captives face relentless pursuit through the unforgiving terrain. These chase sequences showcase the film's commitment to grounded, visceral action, every movement fraught with risk, every encounter a fight for survival. The film's depiction of combat is brutal and unvarnished, avoiding glamorization. Explosions, gunfire, and hand-to-hand fights are interspersed with moments of tactical retreat and regrouping, reflecting the chaotic reality of guerrilla warfare. Rambo's skills, sniping, tracking, close combat, are displayed with a gritty authenticity that reinforces his status as a seasoned warrior. Amid the chaos, character moments emerge that deepen emotional engagement. The sheriff's concern for the mission's human cost, the captive's courage and fragility, and Rambo's stoic resolve create a mosaic of perspectives. These interactions emphasize the film's underlying themes of sacrifice, loyalty, and the struggle to preserve humanity in the face of savagery. As the narrative progresses toward the midway point, Rambo faces not only external enemies but internal demons. Flashbacks and brief dialogues hint at his war experiences and the psychological scars he carries. This introspective layer adds depth, portraying him as a man haunted yet unbroken, a survivor shaped by trauma yet driven by a fierce moral compass. The first half culminates in a tense standoff, where Rambo must defend the rescued group against overwhelming forces until extraction or escape becomes possible. This sequence blends relentless action with strategic ingenuity, highlighting his ability to leverage the environment and exploit enemy weaknesses. The stakes are palpable, the danger immediate. Throughout this section of the story, the film weaves together elements of survival thriller, war drama, and character study. It refuses to simplify its protagonist's journey, instead presenting a nuanced portrait of a man navigating the gray areas between violence and peace, vengeance and compassion. The first half lays a solid foundation of tension and empathy, preparing viewers for the escalating conflict and deeper emotional revelations to come. In this detailed breakdown, we witness not just a rescue mission but a reckoning, a confrontation with brutality that demands courage and resilience. The plot's developments, from quiet beginnings to explosive confrontations, build steadily, drawing the audience into a world where every decision carries weight and every action reverberates with consequence. The film's commitment to realism and emotional truth elevates it beyond mere action, offering a gripping narrative rich in complexity and heart. As the film's pulse quickens, the tension that has been simmering beneath the surface erupts into a relentless storm of action, strategy, and emotional reckoning. The second phase of the story propels us deeper into the unforgiving jungle, where survival hinges not only on combat prowess but on resilience, resourcefulness, and an unyielding will to protect those who cannot defend themselves. The narrative sheds its tentative cloak and dives headlong into a brutal and uncompromising confrontation that tests the limits of every character involved. Following the initial rescue, the group of freed captives and their unlikely guardian, John Rambo, find themselves relentlessly pursued by the enemy forces. The Burmese soldiers, fueled by a ruthless commander's desire to reclaim control and punish dissent, unleash a coordinated and merciless manhunt through the dense jungle. The pursuit sequences unfold with breathtaking intensity, each step fraught with danger and unpredictability. The jungle itself becomes an adversary, a maze of shadows and natural hazards that both conceal and reveal, turning the environment into a dynamic battleground. Rambo's deep familiarity with guerrilla tactics and the terrain becomes their lifeline. His movements are calculated and deliberate, striking silently, using the jungle's camouflage to outmaneuver the enemy, setting traps and ambushes that turn the hunters into the hunted. The film captures these moments with a visceral immediacy, using tight close-ups and rapid cuts to convey the chaos of skirmishes, while sweeping shots reveal the sprawling expanse of wilderness that both protects and threatens the group. Amid the physical struggle, the emotional stakes intensify. The captives, once broken and hopeless, begin to find flickers of strength and solidarity. Their survival depends not only on Rambo's leadership but on their own growing courage and determination. The narrative weaves in poignant interactions, quiet moments of reassurance, whispered prayers, and shared glances that underscore the human cost of violence and the resilience of the human spirit. A significant plot twist emerges when the group encounters unexpected allies, local ethnic insurgents engaged in their own fight against the oppressive military regime. This alliance adds complexity to the narrative, introducing new characters whose motivations and loyalties enrich the story's tapestry. These insurgents bring knowledge of secret routes and guerrilla tactics, providing critical support that shifts the balance. Yet, their presence also highlights the broader political and cultural fractures underpinning the conflict, reminding viewers that this is not a simple battle of good versus evil but a multifaceted struggle with deep historical roots. The film does not shy away from depicting the brutal realities of war. Scenes of combat are raw and unfiltered, bloodied, chaotic, and often ambiguous in outcome. The moral complexity of violence is foreground. Victories come at high cost, and loss shadows every triumph. The protagonist's internal conflict deepens as he confronts the necessity of lethal force while grappling with the trauma of his own past. These moments humanize him, revealing the toll of survival beyond physical wounds. Tension reaches a fever pitch as Rambo and his companions make their way toward the border, seeking extraction and safety. The enemy, aware of their intent, intensifies pursuit, culminating in a series of confrontations that are both spectacular and harrowing. The film's choreography of these battles blends hand-to-hand combat, guerrilla warfare, and explosive set-pieces, showcasing Rambo's tactical genius and unbreakable resolve. A climactic sequence unfolds when the group is cornered at a remote river crossing. Here, Rambo orchestrates a masterful defense, utilizing improvised explosives, environmental traps, and fierce combat skills to hold off overwhelming forces. The cinematic tension is heightened by tight editing, dramatic lighting, and a pulsating score that drives the urgency. This battle becomes a crucible, a test of endurance, sacrifice, and strategic acumen. During this crescendo, key characters face moments of personal reckoning. The local insurgents reveal painful sacrifices made in the pursuit of freedom, adding layers of gravitas to the struggle. The captive's determination to survive transforms into active resistance, embodying themes of empowerment and hope. Rambo's leadership transcends mere tactics. It becomes a symbol of resistance against tyranny and a beacon of courage for the oppressed. The resolution weaves together threads of victory and loss. Though the group successfully escapes the immediate threat, the film acknowledges the ongoing nature of the conflict beyond their rescue. This bittersweet ending refrains from offering simplistic closure, instead reflecting the complex realities of war and its aftermath. The final scenes linger on Rambo's quiet departure, a return to solitude tempered by the knowledge that his fight, while momentarily victorious, is part of a larger, unending struggle. Visually, the film sustains its gritty realism throughout, eschewing glamorized violence for authenticity. The jungle remains an omnipresent force, its sounds and shadows enveloping the narrative in a sensory immersion. Cinematography captures both sweeping panoramas and intimate, harrowing close-ups, balancing spectacle with emotional intimacy. The editing rhythm adapts to the narrative flow, accelerating during chase and combat sequences, and slowing to reveal the human moments amid chaos. Sound design enhances the immersive experience, layering natural jungle ambience with the sharp cracks of gunfire, the thud of footsteps, and the whispered breaths of characters in hiding. The musical score underscores the emotional arc, blending haunting melodies with driving rhythms that echo the film's tension and resolve. In sum, the second part of the story escalates the stakes and deepens the emotional core. It delivers relentless action and strategic brilliance while honoring the humanity at the center of the narrative. Through its detailed depiction of survival, alliance, and resistance, the film offers a powerful meditation on courage amid despair and the enduring fight for freedom and dignity. This gripping conclusion cements the film's place as a raw, unvarnished exploration of conflict and redemption, leaving a lasting impression of both adrenaline and reflection. At the core of this gripping tale lies a constellation of characters whose complexities, motivations, and transformations lend depth and resonance to the unfolding drama. The film is anchored by a protagonist whose stoic exterior masks a tumultuous inner world, and whose journey is as much about confronting personal demons as it is about overcoming external enemies. The interplay between characters, each etched with distinctive traits and histories, creates a rich emotional tapestry that elevates the story beyond its intense action sequences. John Rambo, the film's central figure, is a man forged in the crucible of war and haunted by the shadows of his past. His persona is marked by an almost mythic quiet strength, tempered by a profound weariness born of loss and isolation. The portrayal of Rambo is not that of an invincible hero, but rather of a deeply human warrior burdened by trauma and a longing for peace. His physicality, muscular, scarred, and weathered, speaks to decades of survival in hostile environments, yet it is his psychological landscape that drives much of the narrative's emotional weight. Rambo's character is a study in contrasts. He is both hunter and protector, a man who has seen the darkest sides of humanity but retains a moral compass that guides his actions. His reluctance to re-engage in violence at the story's outset reveals a desire to escape the cycle of bloodshed, yet his fierce sense of justice and compassion for the vulnerable compels him to act. This tension between pacifism and necessary violence underscores the film's exploration of the costs of war and the complexities of heroism. The character's emotional journey is rendered with nuance, using moments of silence, subtle expression, and restrained dialogue to convey internal conflict. Flashbacks and brief interactions hint at his experiences in past conflicts, illuminating the scars, both visible and invisible, that shape his worldview. His connection to the local sheriff introduces a dynamic of mutual respect and shared history, emphasizing Rambo's ties to community even as he stands apart. The sheriff serves as a grounding figure in the narrative, a man of principle navigating a world beset by chaos. His relationship with Rambo is marked by a blend of skepticism, trust, and reluctant dependence. As a local authority, he embodies the tension between law and vigilante justice, illustrating the complexities of order in a lawless region. His presence humanizes the story, providing a foil to Rambo's solitary warrior and highlighting themes of cooperation and moral responsibility. The captives, primarily the missionaries whose plight sparks the rescue mission, are portrayed with sensitivity and depth. They represent innocence and hope amid brutality, their faith and resilience offering a counterpoint to the surrounding violence. Their varied personalities and backgrounds enrich the narrative, illustrating the diverse ways individuals respond to oppression and crisis. Through their interactions with Rambo and each other, the film explores themes of vulnerability, courage, and solidarity. Among the antagonists, the Burmese colonel stands out as a chilling embodiment of cruelty and authoritarian power. His character is less a fully fleshed individual and more a symbol of unchecked brutality, a man who wields violence as a tool of domination without remorse. The colonel's interactions with his troops and captives underscore the dehumanizing effects of power, and his relentless pursuit of Rambo and the rescued group drives much of the narrative tension. His presence serves as a dark mirror to the protagonist's own military past, contrasting fanaticism with reluctant justice. Supporting characters from the local insurgent groups add layers of complexity and moral ambiguity. These fighters, engaged in their own struggle against oppression, bring a raw authenticity to the story. Their motivations, rooted in survival, resistance, and nationalism, reflect the multifaceted nature of the conflict. Their uneasy alliance with Rambo highlights themes of trust, pragmatism, and the intersection of personal and political battles. The film's depiction of relationships, between Rambo and the sheriff, between captives and captors, between insurgents and civilians, adds emotional depth and nuance. These dynamics reveal the human connections that persist even in the darkest circumstances, emphasizing themes of loyalty, sacrifice, and the enduring need for companionship and support. Visually, character presentation is carefully crafted to reinforce personality and theme. Rambo's rugged appearance, marked by scars and minimal clothing, communicates his raw, primal nature and readiness for combat. The cinematography often frames him against the vastness of the jungle or the harshness of the environment, emphasizing his solitary struggle. In contrast, the captive's softer, worn clothing and guarded expressions reflect their vulnerability and resilience. Performance-wise, the lead actor conveys a powerful blend of stoicism and suppressed emotion. His physicality is commanding yet restrained, embodying a man whose strength is tempered by wisdom and pain. Subtle facial expressions and body language communicate internal turmoil, allowing the audience to connect deeply with Rambo's inner world without the need for excessive dialogue. The supporting cast enhances the film's emotional palette, with performances ranging from quiet dignity to fiery intensity. The sheriff's calm authority and occasional exasperation provide balance and humanity, while the colonel's cold menace evokes fear and revulsion. The captive's portrayals capture a spectrum of hope, despair, and determination, inviting empathy and reflection. Symbolically, the characters represent broader themes. Rambo embodies the archetype of the wounded warrior, a figure caught between past and present, violence and peace. The colonel personifies tyranny and the corrosive effects of power. The captives symbolize innocence and the possibility of redemption, while the insurgents reflect the complexities of resistance and the cost of freedom. In essence, the film's character work anchors its intense narrative in human experience. By portraying figures who are flawed, courageous, and multifaceted, it transforms a story of conflict and survival into a profound exploration of identity, morality, and resilience. Their journeys invite viewers not only to witness dramatic action but to engage emotionally and intellectually with the deeper questions at the film's core. Behind the intense drama and gritty realism of this film lies a treasure trove of intriguing, sometimes surprising stories from the production. Moments that reveal just how much perseverance, creativity, and sheer happenstance shape a cinematic journey. These strangest facts peel back the curtain to expose the blend of artistry, hardship, and unexpected twists that accompanied the making of this unforgettable tale. One of the most fascinating aspects of the film's production is the dedication to authenticity, which led the crew deep into challenging environments that mirrored the story's unforgiving jungle setting. Though the film is set in the dense, treacherous rainforests of Myanmar, much of the shooting took place in the remote wilderness of Thailand and the Philippines. The choice of location wasn't just aesthetic. It was a conscious effort to capture the suffocating humidity, tangled foliage, and claustrophobic terrain that would push both cast and crew to their limits. The rugged beauty of these natural settings added a visceral layer of realism but also introduced logistical nightmares. Unpredictable weather, difficult access routes, and the ever-present risk of tropical illnesses. One particularly unusual occurrence during filming involved a sudden storm that swept through the set during a critical night scene. As rain poured relentlessly, the power went out, plunging the crew into darkness. Rather than halting production, the director embraced the chaos, using the storm's natural sound and sporadic lightning to heighten the scene's tension. This unexpected element became one of the film's most atmospheric moments, a testament to the crew's adaptability and creative spirit in the face of adversity. The lead actor, known for his physicality and commitment, underwent a grueling preparation regimen that included survival training, weapon handling, and extensive combat choreography. To embody the role authentically, he immersed himself in the mindset of a seasoned soldier living off the land, often spending days in isolation to understand the mental and physical toll such an existence exacts. This preparation extended beyond the gym and rehearsal rooms. During shooting, he insisted on performing many of his own stunts, from scaling cliffs to engaging in close-quarters combat, adding layers of realism that resonated on screen. On one occasion, a stunt sequence went awry when an improvised explosion triggered earlier than planned, narrowly missing the actors but shaking the entire set. Fortunately, no one was injured, but the incident underscored the inherent dangers of practical effects and the precision required to execute high-risk scenes safely. The stunt coordinators responded by revising protocols and increasing safety measures, highlighting the constant balance between spectacle and security on action-heavy productions. The production design team deserves special mention for their ingenious creation of the Burmese military camp, a sprawling set meticulously crafted to evoke the oppressive atmosphere of a real detention facility. Constructed over several months on a remote plot, the camp featured detailed props, barbed wire fences, and living quarters that actors described as chillingly authentic. The designers studied photographs, survivor testimonies, and historical records to ensure accuracy, blending research with artistic interpretation to build a space that felt both lived in and menacing. On one occasion, a stunt sequence went awry when an improvised explosion triggered earlier than planned, narrowly missing the actors but shaking the entire set. Fortunately, no one was injured, but the incident underscored the inherent dangers of practical effects and the precision required to execute high-risk scenes safely. The stunt coordinators responded by revising protocols and increasing safety measures, highlighting the constant balance between spectacle and security on action-heavy productions. The production design team deserves special mention for their ingenious creation of the Burmese military camp, a sprawling set meticulously crafted to evoke the oppressive atmosphere of a real detention facility. Constructed over several months on a remote plot, the camp featured detailed props, barbed wire fences, and living quarters that actors described as chillingly authentic. The designers studied photographs, survivor testimonies, and historical records to ensure accuracy, blending research with artistic interpretation to build a space that felt both lived in and menacing. One lesser-known trivia point involves the film's soundtrack. Rather than relying solely on traditional orchestration, the composer incorporated indigenous instruments and motifs inspired by Southeast Asian musical traditions. This choice imbued the score with a haunting authenticity, connecting viewers more deeply to the setting's cultural context. Sessions with local musicians were recorded on location, adding organic textures that contrast with the film's explosive moments. During filming, the crew encountered unexpected wildlife visitors, from curious monkeys to elusive snakes, which sometimes interrupted shooting but also provided moments of levity amid intense schedules. On one memorable day, a troop of monkeys invaded the set, playfully disrupting equipment and chasing crew members. The actors took it in stride, even incorporating some of the antics into lighter scenes, showcasing the unpredictable joys of working in natural environments. The director's approach to storytelling was marked by a commitment to realism and emotional honesty. Known for fostering collaboration, he encouraged actors to improvise dialogue and actions, allowing characters to develop organically within the story's framework. Several iconic scenes owe their power to these spontaneous moments, unplanned exchanges, subtle gestures, and authentic reactions that elevate scripted material into lived experience. The film's opening sequence features minimal dialogue, relying heavily on visual storytelling to establish tone and character. To achieve this, the cinematographer employed innovative lighting techniques, using natural light at dawn and dusk to capture evocative shadows and highlights. This choice not only set a meditative mood but also challenged the crew to adapt rapidly to changing conditions, often requiring precise timing to seize fleeting moments of perfect light. In post-production, editors faced the formidable task of balancing the film's relentless pace with moments of introspection. Early cuts tended to favor non-stop action, but test screenings revealed the need for breathing room, scenes where silence and stillness allow audiences to connect emotionally. This feedback led to thoughtful restructuring, inserting pauses and slower sequences that deepen character development without diluting tension. Visual effects, though used sparingly compared to blockbuster fare, played a critical role in enhancing realism. CGI was employed primarily to augment practical effects, enhancing explosions, extending jungle vistas, and removing safety rigs. This subtle integration preserved the film's gritty aesthetic, ensuring effects served the story rather than overwhelming it. A fascinating behind-the-scenes anecdote involves the film's climactic river sequence. To simulate the fast-moving water and treacherous currents, the crew built a custom water tank with variable flow controls, allowing precise manipulation of the environment. Actors trained extensively to perform safely amid these conditions, and multiple takes were often required to capture the perfect balance of danger and control. The realism achieved in this scene stands as a testament to the production's dedication to authenticity. Marketing efforts for the film included interactive experiences that invited fans to explore the film's themes of survival and resilience. One notable campaign featured virtual reality tours of the jungle terrain, blending technology with storytelling in innovative ways that deepened audience engagement before the film's release. Throughout production, the cast and crew shared stories of camaraderie and perseverance. Long hours, difficult conditions, and emotional intensity were met with mutual support and humor. Off-camera, friendships blossomed amid the hardships, creating a familial atmosphere that many involved recall with affection. In essence, these strange and fascinating facts from the film's making reveal a production defined by creativity, grit, and heart. They remind us that behind every cinematic triumph lies a mosaic of moments, some challenging, some serendipitous, that together forge a work of enduring power and resonance. The film's narrative unfolds not just as a sequence of events but as a carefully woven tapestry of moments that resonate deeply on thematic, emotional, and cultural levels. Each significant event serves as a fulcrum, tipping the story from mere action spectacle into a profound exploration of human resilience, morality, and the indelible scars of war. By examining these key moments through a critical lens, we uncover how the film challenges, engages, and ultimately leaves a lasting impression on its audience. One of the most pivotal early events is the capture of the missionaries, an act that triggers the narrative's central conflict and introduces the brutal realities lurking beneath the surface of the idyllic settings. This incident is not just a plot device but a stark commentary on the vulnerabilities of innocence amidst pervasive violence. Critics have noted that the portrayal of this abduction refuses to sanitize the horror, depicting it with unsettling realism that forces viewers to confront the human cost of geopolitical conflict. The event sets a tone of urgency and moral imperative, compelling the protagonist, and through him, the audience, to grapple with themes of captivity, oppression, and the fragile nature of hope. The subsequent decision by Rambo to intervene is loaded with emotional and ethical complexity. His initial reluctance is emblematic of a warrior weary of endless conflict, burdened by trauma yet bound by a code of honor. From a critical perspective, this hesitation adds layers to his characterization, challenging simplistic notions of the action hero as an unerring savior. Instead, the film invites viewers to consider the psychological toll of violence and the weight of responsibility borne by those who choose to fight again. This internal struggle enriches the narrative, fostering empathy and elevating Rambo's mission beyond mere revenge or heroism. As the story progresses into the jungle rescue mission, the film employs its setting as both a physical and symbolic battleground. The dense, oppressive environment mirrors the moral ambiguities and shifting alliances among characters. Critics have praised the film's immersive depiction of guerrilla warfare, noting how the terrain itself becomes an active participant in the narrative, its unpredictability reflecting the chaos and danger inherent in the conflict. The rescue sequences blend strategic cunning with visceral action, highlighting themes of survival, sacrifice, and the blurred lines between hunter and hunted. A major turning point arises when Rambo allies with local insurgents, introducing nuanced political and cultural dimensions. This alliance complicates the narrative, moving it beyond a straightforward rescue into a broader commentary on resistance and colonial legacies. The film does not romanticize these fighters but portrays their struggles and motivations with realism and respect, acknowledging the complexities of their cause. This addition enriches the story's thematic scope, engaging with issues of nationalism, oppression, and the cost of freedom. The intense chase and ensuing battles are choreographed with a rawness that foregrounds the brutal consequences of conflict. Rather than glamorizing violence, the film portrays it as chaotic, exhausting, and tragic. Critical analysis often highlights how these sequences underscore the futility and destructiveness of war, serving as visual metaphors for internal and external battles faced by the characters. The visceral nature of combat scenes evokes emotional responses that oscillate between exhilaration and discomfort, prompting viewers to reflect on the human toll beneath the adrenaline. The climactic river crossing stands as a narrative and thematic summit. Here, Rambo's tactical brilliance and physical endurance are on full display, but the sequence also crystallizes the film's meditation on resilience and redemption. Critics interpret this scene as a symbolic rite of passage, an ordeal that tests not only strength but moral clarity and the capacity to protect others at great personal cost. The layered sound design, dramatic lighting, and tight editing work in concert to heighten tension and emotional impact, making the moment both thrilling and poignant. Character relationships deepen the film's emotional resonance. The dynamic between Rambo and the rescued captives evolves from one of protector and protected into mutual respect and shared resolve. This transformation challenges narratives that reduce vulnerable characters to mere victims, instead highlighting agency and courage. The sheriff's steady presence provides a counterpoint to Rambo's lone wolf persona, embodying the tension between law, order, and vigilantism. These interpersonal connections infuse the story with humanity amidst violence, anchoring its larger themes in intimate, relatable moments. The film's thematic exploration of trauma and healing is woven throughout its events. Flashbacks and subtle character interactions reveal the lingering effects of past wars on Rambo, framing his actions within a context of psychological struggle and endurance. This focus on the veteran's experience adds depth and social relevance, engaging contemporary conversations about the costs of combat and the challenges of reintegration. The narrative does not shy away from portraying these scars but treats them with nuance and empathy. Critically, the film has been interpreted as a commentary on forgotten wars and marginalized voices. Its setting in Myanmar, a region often overlooked in mainstream media, foregrounds issues of ethnic conflict, human rights abuses, and geopolitical complexity. The film's willingness to engage with these realities, though filtered through the lens of an action thriller, has been both praised for raising awareness and critiqued for simplification. Nonetheless, the inclusion of these themes invites viewers to consider the broader contexts that inform the story's conflicts. The reception of the film reflects its complex engagement with these events and themes. Audiences have responded enthusiastically to the visceral action and compelling character portrayal, while critics have lauded its blend of raw realism and emotional depth. Some debate surrounds its depiction of violence and geopolitical issues, but this discourse underscores the film's ability to provoke thought and conversation beyond entertainment. Its impact lies in its refusal to offer easy answers, instead presenting a world marked by ambiguity, struggle, and moments of profound courage. In summary, the film's significant events serve as catalysts for thematic exploration and emotional engagement. Through stark portrayals of conflict, nuanced character dynamics, and immersive storytelling, it challenges viewers to confront the complexities of war, identity, and redemption. These moments contribute to a layered narrative that resonates powerfully, establishing the film as a work of both thrilling intensity and thoughtful reflection. The journey from script to screen is often an unseen saga of its own, a complex, unpredictable voyage where creative vision collides with real-world challenges. The production of this film was no exception. Behind the rugged, intense storytelling lay months of planning, problem-solving, and sometimes sheer improvisation as the cast and crew brought the story to life under demanding conditions. These production insights and fun facts paint a vivid picture of the human endeavor and technical mastery that shaped the final work. From the outset, the filmmakers aimed for authenticity, wanting to capture the stark realities of a war-torn jungle without relying heavily on studio backlots or artificial sets. This vision led the production deep into Southeast Asia, where shooting in Thailand and the Philippines provided the raw, untamed environments essential to the film's atmosphere. But filming in such remote, rugged locations came with its own set of obstacles. The crew frequently grappled with unpredictable weather patterns. Monsoon rains would suddenly flood camps and delay shoots, while oppressive heat drained energy and complicated makeup and costume maintenance. One particularly harrowing experience involved a shoot deep within the jungle where transportation was limited to small boats and treks on foot. Equipment had to be manually carried through thick undergrowth and steep hills, challenging even the most seasoned crew members. Yet, this grueling process paid off on screen. The jungle feels alive, oppressive, and perilous, a character in its own right that shapes every action and decision. Safety was a paramount concern throughout production, especially during the numerous action sequences involving firearms, explosions, and stunts. The stunt coordinators developed elaborate protocols to ensure that high-risk scenes could be executed without injury. For example, during a complex scene involving a collapsing bridge and gunfire, the timing had to be perfect between pyrotechnics and stunt performers' movements. Multiple rehearsals and safety checks preceded each take, underscoring the tension between spectacle and security. The lead actor's commitment to realism was notable. To fully inhabit the role, he underwent extensive physical training that included weapons handling, survival skills, and hand-to-hand combat. On set, he insisted on performing many of his own stunts, sometimes against director Advik. A memorable behind-the-scenes anecdote involves the actor's preparation for a scene where his character must silently traverse enemy territory. The actor spent several days living off the land, guided by survival experts, learning to move stealthily and blend into natural surroundings. This immersive approach informed his performance, lending a palpable tension and authenticity to those moments. Practical effects played a crucial role in grounding the film's brutal action. The production team employed detailed prosthetics, makeup, and physical rigs to depict injuries and environmental hazards realistically. For instance, scenes of combat wounds were created using layered prosthetics and blood effects, often requiring hours of preparation each day. These tangible elements enhanced the visceral impact of the violence, reinforcing the film's gritty tone. The military camp set was a particularly ambitious undertaking. Built on location, it featured meticulously constructed barracks, guard towers, and torture chambers. Designers incorporated authentic materials and historical references, consulting with veterans and experts to ensure accuracy. The claustrophobic layout and oppressive design contributed significantly to the film's atmosphere, immersing both actors and audiences in the grim reality of captivity. Sound design sessions were equally inventive. To create the ambient jungle noises, the rustling leaves, distant animal calls, and intermittent gunfire, sound engineers combined field recordings from the actual shooting locations with studio enhancements. Foley artists recreated the subtle sounds of footsteps on various terrains, the clinking of weapons, and the shifting of equipment, adding layers of detail that enriched the film's sensory experience. The film's score fused traditional orchestral elements with indigenous musical motifs, recorded by local musicians during the shoot. This fusion not only enhanced the cultural authenticity but also deepened the emotional resonance. The composer collaborated closely with the director and editors, fine-tuning themes to align with narrative pacing and emotional beats, ensuring the music underscored both action and introspection. One unusual production challenge involved coordinating with local authorities and communities, who played vital roles both as extras and logistical support. Building trust and mutual respect was essential, and the production engaged in community outreach, offering workshops and economic benefits. This collaboration fostered goodwill but also required sensitivity to local customs and concerns, adding a layer of complexity to the filmmaking process. The editing process was an intense, iterative phase. Initial cuts ran longer and more contemplative, focusing on character development and atmosphere. Test screenings revealed the need for tighter pacing, leading editors to streamline scenes while preserving emotional depth. This balancing act between narrative clarity and immersive storytelling was crucial in shaping the film's final rhythm. Visual effects, though used sparingly compared to blockbuster standards, were nonetheless vital. CGI enhanced environmental elements, simulated complex stunts, and extended physical sets. The effects team worked meticulously to blend these elements seamlessly with live-action footage, preserving the film's grounded aesthetic. Their subtle touch ensured the technology supported rather than overshadowed the story. Marketing the film involved creative strategies, including immersive trailers that emphasized both action and the human story. At festivals and conventions, interactive exhibits allowed fans to explore props, costumes, and behind-the-scenes footage, building anticipation and community engagement. These efforts extended the film's reach and deepened its cultural impact. Throughout production, the cast and crew shared moments of camaraderie that lightened the intense atmosphere. Stories of shared meals, impromptu music sessions, and playful pranks reveal a vibrant human dimension behind the camera. These bonds helped sustain morale during demanding shoots, fostering a sense of shared purpose and achievement. In essence, the making of this film was a journey marked by creativity, resilience, and collaboration. The blend of challenging locations, dedicated performances, innovative effects, and thoughtful storytelling reflects a commitment to authenticity and emotional truth. These behind-the-scenes insights illuminate the hard work and passion that breathe life into the film, enriching our appreciation of the final product as not just a thrilling action narrative but a testament to the art and craft of filmmaking. The film's world unfolds not merely as a backdrop but as a vital, breathing entity, one that shapes the narrative's rhythm, amplifies its emotional stakes, and deepens its thematic resonance. The settings and cinematic elements together create an immersive environment where the story's tension and humanity come alive, inviting viewers into a richly textured experience that transcends conventional action storytelling. The narrative begins in a quiet border town nestled near Thailand's edge, a place that feels suspended in time, its dusty streets and modest buildings reflecting a community weathered by conflict yet clinging to fragile normalcy. This locale functions as a liminal space, an uneasy threshold between the relative safety of civilian life and the chaos that lies just beyond. The town's muted colors and subdued lighting convey a sense of weariness, hinting at the invisible scars borne by its inhabitants. Cinematographically, these scenes use natural light and soft focus to evoke intimacy and a poignant stillness, setting a contemplative mood that contrasts sharply with the violence to come. From this quiet outpost, the story plunges into the dense, oppressive jungles of Myanmar and neighboring regions, a setting both beautiful and menacing. The film's choice to shoot in real wilderness areas in Southeast Asia infuses these sequences with palpable authenticity. Towering trees, tangled vines, and thick underbrush create a labyrinthine world where danger lurks unseen and survival hinges on stealth and cunning. The jungle is portrayed not as a mere backdrop but as an active participant, its shadows and sounds amplifying suspense and uncertainty. The cinematography captures the jungle's duality through shifting light and texture. Dappled sunlight filters through leaves, creating shifting patterns that both illuminate and obscure. The camera often lingers on these natural details, the glint of a dew-covered leaf, the rustle of small creatures, grounding the fantastical elements of the story in a tangible reality. Wide shots reveal the vastness and isolation of the terrain, underscoring the characters' vulnerability and the enormity of their challenge. Within the jungle, the enemy military camp offers a stark contrast. Designed with meticulous attention to detail, the camp is a grim fortress of barbed wire, guard towers, and cramped barracks. Its architecture is utilitarian and oppressive, constructed to instill fear and control. The filmmakers used a combination of constructed sets and real locations to craft this environment, blending authenticity with cinematic necessity. The camp's harsh lighting, fluorescent tubes and flickering bulbs, casts long shadows, visually reinforcing the themes of entrapment and surveillance. The visual design of the camp incorporates textures and materials that evoke decay and brutality: rusted metal, peeling paint, and muddy earth. These elements contribute to a sensory atmosphere of dread and despair. The cinematography here employs tight framing and low angles to create a claustrophobic effect, placing viewers inside the prisoner's confined world and intensifying the emotional impact. In contrast, scenes depicting Rambo's personal spaces, his modest home and the sheriff's office, offer moments of relative calm and humanity. These settings use warmer, earthier tones and softer lighting, creating spaces that feel lived in and grounded. The camera often uses steady, intimate shots here, inviting the audience to connect with the characters on a personal level. The contrast between these peaceful environments and the brutal jungle underscores the film's thematic tension between refuge and conflict. Action sequences frequently unfold in transitional spaces, rivers, bridges, and rocky outcrops that serve as symbolic thresholds. The river crossing, for example, is both a literal and metaphorical passage, a site of confrontation and transformation. Cinematographically, the flowing water is captured with dynamic camera work and reflective surfaces that play with light and shadow, evoking movement, danger, and change. Lighting throughout the film is carefully calibrated to enhance mood and narrative tone. The filmmakers employ chiaroscuro techniques, sharp contrasts of light and dark, to visually echo the story's moral ambiguities and internal conflicts. Night scenes in the jungle are suffused with deep shadows and shafts of moonlight, creating a haunting and mysterious atmosphere. Conversely, daytime combat scenes are bathed in harsh, unforgiving sunlight that exposes vulnerability and rawness. Color grading accentuates the emotional landscape. The film leans into muted palettes, greens, browns, grays, that emphasize realism and grit, avoiding the glossiness of many action films. Occasional splashes of color, a red scarf, a bright flower, stand out against the subdued environment, symbolizing hope, life, or violence amid decay. This restrained use of color invites viewers to focus on texture and form, drawing attention to detail and atmosphere. Camera movement is another key tool shaping the film's immersive quality. The cinematographer balances sweeping tracking shots that capture the jungle's vastness with tight, handheld sequences that convey immediacy and tension. During combat, the camera often moves erratically, reflecting the chaos and unpredictability of battle, while quieter moments use slower, deliberate pans and tilts to allow space for reflection. The film also uses sound design strategically to deepen setting and mood. Ambient noises, the buzz of insects, the distant call of birds, the rustle of foliage, create an immersive soundscape that envelopes the viewer. These natural sounds contrast with the harsh percussion of gunfire, explosions, and shouted commands, heightening tension and underscoring the intrusion of violence into the natural world. Silence is used judiciously, making moments of quiet pregnant with suspense or emotional weight. Visual effects, though sparingly employed, enhance the authenticity of the settings. Digital augmentation extends jungle vistas, removes modern artifacts from shots, and intensifies environmental hazards like fires and mudslides. These subtle enhancements blend seamlessly with practical effects, preserving the tactile realism that grounds the film's world. Symbolically, the settings embody the story's core themes. The jungle represents the wild, uncontrollable forces of nature and conflict, a place where civilization's rules break down and primal survival instincts reign. The military camp is a manifestation of oppression and dehumanization, a microcosm of institutional cruelty. The border town serves as a fragile refuge, symbolizing hope and the possibility of peace amidst chaos. In sum, the film's settings and cinematic elements work in harmonious concert to create a world that is vivid, immersive, and thematically rich. Through careful use of location, lighting, color, camera movement, and sound, the filmmakers craft an atmosphere that enhances every narrative beat, drawing viewers deeply into the story's emotional and physical terrain. This meticulous attention to environment transforms the film from a straightforward action story into a resonant exploration of survival, morality, and human endurance in the face of overwhelming odds. Beneath the roaring gunfire and dense jungle foliage that dominate the screen lies a vibrant, often surprising world behind the scenes, a world where camaraderie, challenges, and creativity converge to breathe life into the story. The making of this film was marked not only by technical mastery and artistic vision but by moments of human connection, humor, and resilience that shaped both the atmosphere on set and the final cinematic experience. These behind-the-scenes insights reveal the intricate tapestry of collaboration and determination that fueled the production, offering a glimpse into the heart of filmmaking in challenging conditions. From the earliest days of shooting, the cast and crew faced formidable environmental obstacles. Filming in remote jungle locations meant contending with relentless heat, high humidity, and unpredictable weather. The oppressive climate tested everyone's endurance. Makeup and costume departments worked tirelessly to maintain continuity despite sweat and grime, while actors had to push through exhaustion to deliver authentic performances. Yet, these hardships fostered a deep bond among the team. Shared struggles became shared stories, forging a sense of family that carried them through long days and nights. One of the most frequently recounted anecdotes involves the arrival of a sudden tropical storm during a critical outdoor scene. As rain hammered down and equipment threatened to malfunction, the crew scrambled to protect cameras and lights. Amid the chaos, the director made a bold decision to incorporate the storm's intensity into the scene, transforming a potential setback into a cinematic asset. This spontaneous pivot captured a raw, elemental energy on film that might otherwise have been impossible to replicate. The incident became a symbol of the crew's adaptability, and creative problem-solving humor played a vital role in balancing the intensity of the shoot. The cast, many of whom had prior action or war film experience, developed a repertoire of light-hearted pranks and inside jokes to ease tension. For example, the stunt team once orchestrated a playful scare involving a fake snake in the lead actor's trailer, eliciting genuine surprise and laughter that diffused stress before a demanding day of filming. These moments of levity helped maintain morale and reminded everyone of the shared joy in crafting something meaningful. He often took time to mentor younger performers and engaged enthusiastically with the technical teams, expressing curiosity about the intricacies of cinematography, special effects, and stunt coordination. This openness fostered a collaborative atmosphere where ideas flowed freely, and every department felt valued. Physical challenges were ever present. The stunt coordinators recount the rigorous training schedules imposed on the cast to ensure safety and authenticity during combat scenes. Actors underwent sessions in martial arts, weapons handling, and survival skills, often under the guidance of military veterans. One particularly grueling day involved a series of choreographed fight scenes in muddy terrain under searing sun, testing endurance and patience. Yet, the sense of achievement at completing these demanding sequences forged a strong collective spirit. Special effects crews also share stories of innovation under pressure. Practical effects for explosions and environmental hazards required precise timing and coordination. On one occasion, a carefully timed pyrotechnic went slightly off cue, sending a plume of smoke toward the camera crew. While no injuries occurred, the near miss prompted a thorough review of safety protocols and brought an added layer of caution to subsequent shoots. These moments underscored the delicate balance between spectacle and safety inherent in action filmmaking. Makeup artists recall the complexity of creating realistic wounds and scars that had to withstand long hours and harsh conditions. The use of specialized materials and application techniques allowed for quick touch-ups during breaks, maintaining continuity and realism. One favorite anecdote involves an impromptu contest among makeup artists to design the most convincing battle injury, sparking friendly competition and creativity that enriched the visual texture of the film. Logistical coordination presented its own set of puzzles. Transporting cast, crew, and equipment through jungle terrain with limited infrastructure required detailed planning and improvisation. At times, unexpected obstacles like washed-out roads or local festivals delayed schedules, forcing rapid adjustments. Production managers praised the local support staff and guides whose knowledge of the region was indispensable, bridging cultural and environmental gaps and ensuring smooth operations despite challenges. The relationship between the film crew and local communities was marked by respect and cultural exchange. The production made concerted efforts to engage with residents, hiring local extras, employing craftspeople, and supporting local businesses. Cultural consultants advised on sensitive depictions, ensuring authenticity and respect. Cast and crew often participated in community events during downtime, deepening connections and enriching the filming experience. In quieter moments, the set became a space for reflection and storytelling. Actors and crew shared experiences from previous projects and personal histories, creating a tapestry of voices and perspectives. These exchanges deepened understanding and empathy, fostering a supportive environment crucial for sustaining the emotional intensity required by the story. Post-shoot, the editing room became another arena of collaboration and discovery. Editors and the director worked closely, experimenting with pacing, juxtaposition, and tone to refine narrative flow. Test screenings prompted lively discussions, leading to adjustments that sharpened tension and amplified emotional impact. The iterative process was marked by openness and a shared commitment to excellence. Sound designers and composers contributed significantly to the film's atmosphere through inventive techniques. Recording ambient jungle sounds on location and blending them with studio enhancements, they crafted an immersive audio landscape that anchors viewers in the setting. The score's fusion of traditional and contemporary elements was developed through ongoing dialogue with the director, shaping an evocative musical narrative. In sum, the behind-the-scenes journey of this film is a testament to the dedication, creativity, and resilience of its makers. The challenges of remote locations, physical demands, and complex action sequences were met with ingenuity and teamwork. Moments of humor and human connection balanced the intensity, creating a vibrant, collaborative spirit that permeates the final product. These insights reveal that beyond the on-screen drama lies a story of perseverance and passion, a collective endeavor to bring a compelling tale of survival and courage to life. Beneath the relentless pulse of action and the stark realism of jungle warfare, the film reveals itself as a profound meditation on themes that resonate far beyond the surface narrative. Its exploration of survival, trauma, identity, and redemption is woven intricately into the fabric of the story, imbuing the cinematic experience with layers of meaning that invite reflection and emotional engagement. The symbolism scattered throughout, both visual and narrative, acts as a connective tissue, deepening the impact and uniting character journeys with broader human truths. At its core, the film grapples with the theme of survival, not merely as a physical struggle against hostile forces and a brutal environment, but as an existential challenge to retain humanity amid chaos. The protagonist's journey through the unforgiving jungle mirrors this duality. Every step forward is a fight against external dangers and internal despair. His resilience is emblematic of the human spirit's capacity to endure, adapt, and find purpose even when all seems lost. Survival here is not just about escaping death but about preserving identity and moral integrity. This theme is intricately linked with trauma, both personal and collective. The character's haunted demeanor and flashbacks reveal wounds that extend beyond flesh to the psyche. The narrative does not shy away from depicting the long shadows cast by past wars, illustrating how trauma shapes perception, relationships, and actions. This nuanced portrayal challenges simplistic heroic archetypes, presenting a warrior burdened by memory yet propelled by a fierce will to protect others. The film thus engages with the complexity of healing, acknowledging scars while exploring the possibility of redemption. Identity emerges as another vital theme, explored through the protagonist's navigation between his violent past and desire for peace. His reluctance to re-engage in combat underscores the tension between who he was and who he seeks to become. The symbiosis of warrior and man is fraught, with moments of introspection punctuating relentless action. This internal struggle reflects universal questions about selfhood, how past experiences define us, how we reconcile conflicting impulses, and how agency can be reclaimed in a fractured world. The film's setting amplifies these themes symbolically. The jungle is not merely a backdrop but a metaphor for the tangled, uncertain nature of the character's journey. Its dense, shadowed paths reflect the murky terrain of memory and morality he must navigate. At times nurturing and at times hostile, the environment embodies the unpredictable interplay of danger and refuge, echoing the protagonist's oscillation between vulnerability and strength. The military camp symbolizes oppression and dehumanization. Its barbed wire and sterile structures represent the mechanisms by which power suppresses individuality and hope. Within this space, captivity is physical and psychological, underscoring themes of control, resistance, and the cost of freedom. The stark contrast between the camp and the natural world outside accentuates the tension between confinement and liberation. Water, particularly the climactic river crossing, serves as a potent symbol of transformation and renewal. Flowing, ever-changing, and sometimes perilous, the river represents a threshold between past and future, danger and safety, death and life. The protagonist's passage across it marks a rite of passage, a moment of reckoning that encapsulates the film's overarching themes of endurance and rebirth. Character interactions further reinforce thematic depth. The alliance between the protagonist and the local insurgents reflects complex notions of solidarity amid division, illustrating how disparate individuals unite against common oppression despite cultural and historical differences. Their cooperation embodies hope for reconciliation and collective resilience. The captive's journey from despair to empowerment symbolizes the triumph of human dignity. Their gradual awakening to agency and courage challenges narratives of victimhood, emphasizing strength found in community and faith. These arcs intertwine with the protagonist's mission, creating a tapestry of interdependent survival and redemption. Visual symbolism permeates the film's aesthetic choices. The recurring imagery of scars, on bodies and landscapes, visualizes the imprint of violence and survival. Shadows and light play across faces and settings, evoking the interplay of hidden fears and emerging clarity. The use of muted colors punctuated by vivid elements, a red cloth, a blooming flower, draws attention to moments of significance, hope, and sacrifice. Sound design and music contribute symbolic resonance. The haunting melodies intertwining with natural sounds evoke a sense of place and emotional texture, reinforcing themes of connection and loss. Silence punctuates scenes of tension and introspection, inviting contemplation. Collectively, these themes and symbols transform the film from a straightforward action narrative into a layered exploration of human endurance, morality, and transformation. They invite viewers to look beyond the visceral thrills to consider the costs and possibilities embedded in conflict and survival. Through its rich interplay of story, character, and imagery, the film resonates as both a gripping saga and a profound meditation on what it means to fight not just for life, but for meaning and redemption in a fractured world. The making of this film is a testament to how meticulous craftsmanship and bold innovation converge to create an immersive cinematic experience. Every frame, sound, and cut is the result of deliberate choices designed not just to tell a story, but to pull viewers deep into its visceral world. The filmmaking techniques deployed are as varied as they are sophisticated, each serving to heighten tension, evoke emotion, and amplify the raw intensity that defines the narrative. Examining these elements reveals how the film's atmosphere is painstakingly constructed and how technical artistry and storytelling fuse seamlessly on screen. Cinematography stands at the forefront of this artistic architecture. The director of photography employed a versatile visual language that shifts fluidly to match the evolving mood of the story. Early scenes set in the border town are captured with naturalistic lighting and steady, contemplative shots that convey a fragile peace and latent unease. Here, the camera lingers on weathered faces and everyday details, grounding the narrative in a tactile reality. As the story plunges into the jungle, the visual style shifts dramatically. Handheld cameras and Steadicams weave through dense foliage with kinetic energy, creating a sense of immediacy and immersion that puts the viewer on edge. The jungle is framed both as breathtakingly vast and oppressively claustrophobic, with wide shots contrasting with tight close-ups that trap the audience alongside the characters. Lighting plays a crucial role in sculpting atmosphere. The filmmakers used a combination of natural light and carefully designed artificial setups to evoke the changing emotional landscape. Harsh daylight filters through leaves, casting dappled patterns that dance across characters and terrain, suggesting the unpredictability and danger of the wilderness. Night scenes employ chiaroscuro effects, stark contrasts of light and shadow that heighten suspense and mystery. The interplay between illumination and darkness mirrors the film's thematic exploration of moral ambiguity and internal conflict. Camera movement is deployed strategically to reinforce narrative tension. Action sequences feature swift tracking shots and dynamic pans that mirror the chaos of combat and pursuit. The camera's restless energy follows characters closely, creating a visceral sense of urgency. Conversely, quieter, introspective moments utilize slow dolly shots and lingering framings that invite contemplation. This ebb and flow of pacing through camera work gives the film a rhythmic complexity that sustains engagement and emotional depth. Editing is another cornerstone of the film's storytelling power. The editors masterfully balance rapid cuts that accelerate adrenaline during firefights with extended takes that allow character emotions to unfold. Cross-cutting between parallel storylines, such as the captive's plight and Rambo's tactical maneuvers, builds suspense and narrative coherence. The use of montage sequences condenses time and effort, conveying preparation and journeying without sacrificing detail. The editors also employ rhythmic pacing, varying shot lengths and transitions to modulate tension and release, crafting a cinematic pulse that mirrors the story's emotional highs and lows. Sound design envelopes viewers in a rich auditory landscape. The jungle's ambient sounds, bird calls, insect buzzes, rustling leaves, are layered meticulously to create a living environment. These natural noises contrast with the sudden eruptions of gunfire, explosions, and human shouts, underscoring the intrusion of violence into a fragile ecosystem. Foley artists contributed nuanced textures, the crunch of boots on dirt, the snap of twigs underfoot, that heighten realism and immersion. Silence is used powerfully, especially in moments of anticipation or internal struggle, where absence of sound amplifies tension and invites audience introspection. The film's score is a carefully crafted emotional undercurrent. Composers blended traditional orchestral elements with indigenous instruments and motifs inspired by the Southeast Asian setting. This fusion provides a sonic texture that feels both epic and intimate, reinforcing cultural context and narrative tone. Rhythmic percussion drives action sequences, while haunting melodies underscore moments of loss and reflection. The music dynamically interacts with on-screen events, intensifying the viewer's emotional journey. Visual effects, though restrained compared to blockbuster standards, are employed with precision to augment practical action. CGI enhances environmental features, expanding jungle vistas, simulating weather effects, and bolsters explosive sequences, ensuring safety while preserving spectacle. Digital compositing integrates seamlessly with live-action footage, maintaining a gritty, grounded aesthetic. This subtle approach to effects prioritizes authenticity, reinforcing the film's immersive quality. Practical effects and stunt work constitute the backbone of the film's visceral impact. Elaborate fight choreography, carefully coordinated explosions, and physically demanding stunts were executed with meticulous attention to safety and realism. The lead actor's commitment to performing many of his own stunts added a layer of intensity and believability. The stunt team's expertise ensured that combat scenes retained kinetic energy without sacrificing coherence or safety. Wire work, harnesses, and rigging enabled dynamic movements that heightened visual excitement while adhering to realistic physicality. Production design contributed significantly to the film's atmosphere. Sets and locations were chosen and crafted to reflect narrative themes. Oppressive military compounds designed to feel claustrophobic and threatening, contrasted with the untamed jungle's unpredictability. Attention to detail, from weathered props to authentic costumes, immersed viewers in a world that felt lived in and tangible. The use of natural elements, combined with constructed sets, created a seamless visual flow that supported storytelling. The collaboration among departments was essential in shaping the film's cohesive aesthetic. Cinematographers, production designers, costume artists, sound engineers, and editors worked closely, often iterating through ideas and techniques to align their efforts with the director's vision. This synergy ensured that technical elements served the story rather than distracting from it, producing a unified cinematic language. Box office production reflects the film's ability to connect with audiences through this immersive approach. Its success is rooted not just in thrilling action but in the palpable atmosphere and emotional weight crafted by these filmmaking techniques. Viewers are drawn into the story's physical and psychological landscapes, experiencing the tension, danger, and humanity in a visceral way. In conclusion, the film's filmmaking techniques, ranging from cinematography and lighting to sound design, editing, and practical effects, are intricately intertwined to create a powerful atmosphere that supports narrative and emotional complexity. These elements do more than frame the story. They shape the viewer's experience, guiding perception and deepening engagement. The result is a film that resonates on multiple sensory levels, delivering a gripping, immersive journey that lingers long after the credits roll. The story behind this film is as much about the people who brought it to life as it is about the narrative etched onto the screen. From the very first casting decisions to the candid interviews that followed its release, the journey of the actors, the insights they shared, and the audience's responses together weave a rich tapestry that deepens our understanding of the film's impact and legacy. It is through these voices, both those who performed and those who watched, that the emotional and cultural resonance of the film takes on fuller meaning. At the heart of the film stands its lead, a figure whose embodiment of John Rambo is both a return to a familiar icon and a fresh exploration of a battle-hardened soul seeking peace amidst chaos. The actor, renowned for his physicality and commanding screen presence, approached the role with a profound sense of responsibility. In interviews, he described immersing himself in the psychological landscape of a man haunted by war and loss, emphasizing the need to portray vulnerability alongside strength. His preparation was rigorous, not merely mastering combat skills but delving into the emotional aftermath of trauma. He spoke candidly about the challenge of balancing stoicism with expressiveness, aiming to convey internal turmoil without excessive dialogue, relying on subtle gestures and silence. This nuanced portrayal drew praise from critics and audiences alike, who found in his performance a deeply human figure rather than a one-dimensional action hero. In conversation, the actor reflected on the evolution of the character over decades, noting how this chapter demanded confronting the consequences of violence in a more grounded and somber way. He highlighted the importance of honoring the character's legacy while exploring new emotional depths, making Rambo a vessel for both reckoning and redemption. Supporting the lead was a cadre of actors who enriched the narrative with layered performances. The sheriff, portrayed by an actor known for his understated intensity, provided a grounded counterbalance. In interviews, he discussed the complexity of his character's relationship with Rambo, marked by trust, tension, and mutual respect. He spoke of the collaborative process on set, where improvisation and shared history helped flesh out the dynamic. His portrayal was widely appreciated for adding moral texture, embodying a man caught between duty and empathy in a lawless world. The ensemble of captives and local insurgents offered a mosaic of experiences and perspectives. Several cast members drew on personal or familial histories connected to war and displacement, bringing authenticity to their roles. One actress recounted the emotional weight of depicting captivity and trauma, emphasizing the importance of conveying resilience amid suffering. Their stories in interviews revealed a collective commitment to portraying these narratives with dignity and respect, highlighting the film's humanistic core. Behind the scenes, the actors formed bonds forged through shared physical and emotional challenges. Tales of long hours in humid jungles, grueling fight rehearsals, and moments of mutual support painted a picture of a tightly knit community. The lead actor often described the cast as a surrogate family, with camaraderie helping sustain morale during demanding shoots. These relationships translated on screen into palpable chemistry and cohesion. Directors and producers offered insights into the casting process, emphasizing the search for performers who could embody both physical prowess and emotional depth. The decision to blend established stars with emerging talent was intentional, aiming to balance gravitas with fresh perspectives. They spoke of workshops and preparatory sessions where actors developed combat skills and character backstories collaboratively, creating a grounded and immersive ensemble. Interviews with the creative team reveal a shared vision of pushing the franchise's boundaries, melding intense action with character-driven storytelling. The director, in particular, articulated a desire to honor the original spirit while addressing contemporary themes of trauma and resilience. He described working closely with actors to explore their characters' inner lives, encouraging vulnerability amid strength. This approach required patience and trust, often leading to intimate on-set conversations that deepened performances. Audience reactions to the film offer a kaleidoscope of engagement, ranging from exhilaration at the action sequences to reflection on the film's emotional and thematic depth. He described working closely with actors to explore their characters' inner lives, encouraging vulnerability amid strength. This approach required patience and trust, often leading to intimate on-set conversations that deepened performances. Audience reactions to the film offer a kaleidoscope of engagement, ranging from exhilaration at the action sequences to reflection on the film's emotional and thematic depth. Social media and fan forums buzzed with discussions about the lead's portrayal, with many appreciating the layered depiction of a complex veteran. Viewers noted how the film avoided clichés, instead offering a story that felt raw and relevant. Testimonials spoke of being moved by the portrayal of survival and moral struggle, connecting personally to the themes of trauma and redemption. Critics and scholars highlighted the film's contribution to the evolution of action cinema, praising its blend of visceral spectacle and introspective storytelling. Reviews often cited the strong ensemble cast and the director's vision as key strengths, commending the film for challenging genre conventions. Some debates emerged around the depiction of geopolitical realities, with nuanced conversations about representation and cultural context enriching public discourse. Fan events and conventions saw enthusiastic receptions, with cast panels and Q&A sessions offering deeper dives into the filmmaking process. The lead actor's reflections on his role sparked admiration and inspired discussions on the nature of heroism and vulnerability. These gatherings fostered a sense of community among viewers, reinforcing the film's cultural footprint. In sum, the film's cast and their interviews reveal a dedication to authenticity, depth, and collaboration that elevates the work beyond entertainment. Audience responses underscore its emotional resonance and thematic relevance, affirming its place as a significant contribution to contemporary cinema. Through these voices, both on and off screen, the story continues to live, inviting ongoing reflection and connection. As our journey through this film draws to a close, It's worth stepping back to reflect on the layers of storytelling, craftsmanship, and emotion we've unraveled together. From the first frame to the last, the film stands as a testament to resilience, not just in its narrative of survival amid brutal conflict, but in the artistry and dedication of everyone involved in bringing this story to life. We've seen how the powerful themes of trauma, redemption, and identity weave through every scene, infusing what could have been a straightforward action thriller with profound human depth. The plot itself is a relentless odyssey through danger and hope, following a warrior forced back into a world of violence to rescue the innocent and confront his own ghosts. We traced his steps from a quiet border town into the suffocating jungle, navigating ambushes, alliances, and brutal battles. Each event was more than an adrenaline rush. It was a piece of a larger puzzle about courage, loss, and the search for meaning in chaos. The first half grounded us in this world, introducing characters shaped by conflict and compassion, while the second half escalated to a gripping crescendo where survival demanded every ounce of strength and strategy. Our character analysis brought us face to face with the complexity of these individuals, wounded yet unbowed, haunted yet determined. The protagonist's stoic exterior belied a turbulent inner life, a man negotiating the weight of past violence with an unyielding moral code. Supporting roles enriched the narrative tapestry, from steadfast allies to fierce adversaries, each embodying facets of the film's themes and elevating its emotional resonance. Peeling back the curtain on the film's production revealed the monumental effort behind the scenes, the grueling shoots in remote jungles, the innovative special effects, and the camaraderie that kept the team united through challenges. From unexpected storms that turned obstacles into cinematic assets, to the lead actor's physical and emotional immersion into the role, these stories speak to a collective passion and resilience mirroring the film's spirit. The settings and cinematic elements emerged as characters in their own right. The oppressive jungle, the claustrophobic military camp, and the fragile border town all contributed texture and symbolism, enhancing themes of confinement and liberation, despair and hope. Cinematography, lighting, sound, and editing coalesced to create an immersive atmosphere that pulled viewers into the narrative's heart, making each moment feel immediate and vital. Our exploration of themes and symbolism highlighted the film's meditation on survival, not just as physical endurance but as a spiritual and moral quest. Trauma, identity, and redemption thread through the story and its visuals, inviting viewers to contemplate the costs of conflict and the possibilities of healing. These layers enrich the experience, transforming a tale of warfare into a profound human saga. Filmmaking techniques were dissected to reveal the careful craftsmanship shaping the film's tone and impact. The interplay of camera work, sound design, editing rhythms, and practical effects formed a cohesive sensory journey, one that resonates deeply beyond mere spectacle. These technical choices are not ends in themselves, but tools serving the narrative's emotional truth. Our look at the cast and their interviews illuminated the dedication and artistry breathing life into the characters. Their reflections on preparation, performance, and collaboration give texture to the story, while audience responses underscore its cultural and emotional significance. Together, they reveal a story that connects not only through action but through shared humanity. In bringing these elements together, the film achieves a rare balance: thrilling and thoughtful, raw and nuanced, entertaining and evocative. It challenges viewers to engage with complexity, to recognize the shadows that linger behind heroism, and to appreciate the fragile light of hope in dark times. If you found this deep dive enriching, I encourage you to subscribe and join us for more explorations of cinema's hidden depths. Each video aims to peel back layers, uncovering the stories behind stories, the meanings beneath images, and the emotions behind performances. By subscribing, you become part of a community dedicated to thoughtful engagement with film, where every frame is a doorway to understanding and every narrative a journey worth sharing. Thank you for being here, for your curiosity and attention. Until next time, keep watching, keep questioning, and keep discovering the rich worlds that cinema offers.